Hello all, today we are taking a look at a preview copy of Earth 2053 Tipping Point, which is due to hit crowdfunding very soon, and I'm excited to finally showcase this game to you guys. So it's a 1 to 4 player game, takes about 60 to 90 minutes, it's on that medium complexity, but this game is economic, obviously with a cooperative aspect to it, so we're working collectively to fight off these disasters. Now each round, disasters are going to be coming out onto the board, one per player. You're then going to take some of these project cards, and there's a host of them you can see. We've got loads here as well, and you'll be using these project cards to defeat these disasters, to prevent pollution from being added to this seesaw here. And I've never seen anything quite like this in a game. It's literally going to be a toppling from one side to the other as you pop out those either pollution on this side here or the prevention tokens on there. And to win the game, you need to fill up this side full of those prevention tokens and prevent it from toppling to the other side and overflowing with pollution, because you have all these disasters and you're trying to prevent this climate change and over polluting of the world as such. Now you'll start the game with a country, so you got a host of them here, and as any preview copy, you know, rules may change slightly and the look of it may change, but if I was to receive this physical copy here today, I think I'd be very, very happy. Now, here's some of the countries. You've got your starting credits and starting levels. You've got your starting cards, a bit of a flow to the round as well on the back. So you'll take one of these. You'll also take one of these leaders, and these will differ as well in the eventual version. So you've got introductory leader. You can have a bit of asymmetry, you know, a special action just for yourself. And there's a bit of a description on here. So take a country, take an advisor. You've got this country here, which represents all your different areas. You've got housing, infrastructure, you've got energy, water, nutrition, health, education, commerce, and equality there. So all these areas have their own budget with these credits at the top here. And they start off, depending on your nation, at slightly different locations. So working your way from level 0 to 1 all the way up to 6 there. And the strength of each department dictates how much income and that budget essentially you're going to have for each department. So how is a round going to flow then? So each round you're going to get one disaster card each. So if you're playing a 4-player game, 4 disasters are going to come out, and you can pick and choose where these disasters are going to go. So they start with level 1s and they work up to some very difficult challenges at level 5 there. So here's a couple of disasters then. We've got terrorism and we've got the ozone hole. Now you can see these arrows are going to be where we have to put our influence as nations and countries combating these to eventually flip these over. So you'll take, say, a 2-player game, 2 of these disasters, and you're going to pop them out. Now you cannot pop them next to another disaster. So we've got a disaster here, and you can see the red outline with hurricanes and Cold War shows you those quite clearly. So this one would have to go here. Now you also have to go to a location that has a matching symbol or color. So we don't have any matching symbols there, so we can place that here. But if you did reveal a disaster, and a disaster has to go next to a project card with a matching colour. So let's just reveal this project card here, and let's say the board was like this and you were due to put out this particular disaster. You have to put it somewhere next to this project card here. But remember, it can't go next to another disaster. Okay, so everyone takes their disasters. They place them down in a legal position. Let's just go here, shall we? Now, when you place these, you want to be mindful where the arrows are, because you need to put your cubes out as influence on these face down project cards to compete and complete these disasters as such. So that's the disasters. Next up, you're going to take some project cards, and it's typically 3 project cards, and there's a host in here. You can see you've got all different sections which match up nicely to here. You've taken your project cards. You're then going to get income dependent on what level you are on here. So if you're on level 2 here for this equality, you're getting 2 money. Level 3, free money. So you get all your income, and then you are ready to kick off. So each player is going to play a project card if they can. So you're going to look at your projects, and you are looking at particularly the costs at the top here. Now this particular one is going to require 2 credits from your infrastructure department, which is here. So you'd pay those 2 credits first. You would then have a choice of choosing 4 credits from any department. So you'd pay those 4 credits. Let's just say we take them from these departments here. Now we can play this card onto the board. And the benefits we are going to attain are just in green, which in this case is a choice between raising our infrastructure 1 step up or flipping an infrastructure card. Now, why would we want to do these? So we're going to put this out. Now, where are we going to go? If we go next to our matching color, we get a synergy bonus, which is vital. And you look at your particular player and you can see close up here that for each synergy, we get 1 credit on the same category. So we take 1 credit and we put it on the infrastructure department. Excellent. Now we get the benefit. Are we going to increase that department or are we going to flip a card? So why would we want to flip a card first? Well, you need these cards to be flipped to be able to put influence on them. So let's just say we had this card over here. This card is allowing us for the benefit. We've paid the cost, we've got the synergy, and we are going to flip. And we can't flip the card we've just put down, but we can flip another card of the same color, unless it says otherwise. Sometimes they tell you to flip other cards. So we're going to flip this one. Now that allows us on future turns and other players during the round to manage to get influence cubes on there. And if you get a number of influence cubes which match adjacent to the number of arrows of a disaster, you have fulfilled it and you have to do that straight away. So in this case, these cubes come back off. We have completed this disaster, and that is crucial because at the end of the round, all these disasters that are in play are going to add pollution here. So you can see this one's going to add 2 pollution per round. And once you've completed it, you are going to get to put 2 prevention tokens on this seesaw here, this climate seesaw. So that is why you want to flip cards. Equally, if you want to go up these tracks, what is the purpose and benefit of that? Well, if we decided to go up this infrastructure one, if there's an adjacent cube from one of these departments that is further ahead than your cube, you will get a benefit. So let's say here we can see that the energy is on an equal footing, so we're not going to get a benefit for that, but we are going to get a benefit for the housing sector because it's ahead of us. So as we go at 1, we look at the number between the departments, which is 3. We look at the symbols around the board, and in this case, it's an influence symbol, which means instantly we can take 3 cubes of our color and we can pop them anywhere we want on these face down projects. So maybe we just go here and we've immediately completed this ozone hole. We flip it and we add 2 of these prevention tokens on here. Now you fill the rows from left to right following the arrows, and we are helping to combat and potentially win the game now. We've flipped over disaster, which is great. It's not going to cause us more bother. Now, as you go up these various departments, be mindful that, for example, housing here, you can see as your housing area gets bigger and bigger, it's actually contributing more pollution itself to this climate seesaw. So just be mindful of those lovely adjacent bonuses. Some offer influence, some let you remove pollution tokens. So these are equally going to go from left to right following their arrows, and you can see how it will eventually, if there's enough pollution, start to tip the seesaw. And you can see you have equally got options to get more cards, which is great, gives you more options, and you've got more credit as well. Now, players can pass, they can come back into play, but eventually everyone's going to pass because they've either got no more money to fulfill the costs here, and at the end of a round, you're going to look at all those disasters. You can see you've got hurricanes in play. That's going to add 3 pollution to this climate seesaw. You've got the Cold War, which is still out there, which is going to offer 2. Terrorism as well has got 2. So you add in all this pollution. That's the end of a round. You start over again. You will draw more disaster cards, 1 per person again, and then you will draw your projects, get your income, and you continue and repeat by playing these projects. Now, these are disasters. We have got level 2s working all the way up to level 5s, and I should add that you take out a select number of these dependent on your player count as well. So what have we got then? Some of the 2s, we've got shrinking ice sheets, rainforest destruction, war. Now you can see as we get some to level 5s here, you've got all these arrows, which mean you need to have influence not only here but here, here and here. So, well, I couldn't technically go there because of a disaster, but let's say it was over here. You'd need influence on all three areas. You're going to need project cards that have been flipped. We've got famine, and that can equally stop you as a nation, your country, from improving its infrastructure, not infrastructure, but its nutritional capabilities. So loads of bad things that can come out there, and you are racing to try and flip these disasters over so they are completed, because there's an escalation effect of more pollution being added, and you've got this payoff between trying to develop your country here to get more credits to then allow you to play more projects to then complete and get more influence out there to affect this climate seesaw, or are you just going to get that influence as quick as you can because your leaders have the capability here not only to get one credit for synergy, but you can discard cards of the same category to get more money, which could be very useful for playing those projects. Or you could spend 5 money in this case to put one influence out on a face down project. So there's ways to get influence out there just by spending your credits. But are you going to go short term and get rid of those disasters, or are you going to build your engine so you've got more credits so you can then fight out some of these bigger disasters later on? Now the game is going to end either by you guys winning and having this side here full of green tokens. Even if it is tipping down and touching your table, it is still not a win yet. You need it full with the green tokens. Or if the pollution ever manages to touch the table and it says if you can't fit a card under there, then you have all lost. Or if the pollution side is full up of tokens, you have lost as well. Now there's loads of things to like here, folks. It's a game that is not exactly heavy in complexity, but it certainly keeps you engaged with the board. Throughout my plays, I've been constantly looking at my project cards, trying to decipher which one I can play first, how I can help other players, how am I going to get that influence out there, how am I going to build my country and its departments. And it's this calculative decision process of, optimizing this puzzle of trying to compete against these disasters to, prevent things from getting out of control there. And everyone is just trying to figure this puzzle out, and it's rather intense. Now I also like the synergies. For example, this yield optimizations when it's played next to hurricanes kind of makes sense. You're yielding more from your crops there as you've got hurricanes destroying your land. So I like some of those synergies. I also like how this is a rather unique setup and theme from the artwork to, it's not unique in terms of a theme. There's a lot of games about pollution and climate change, but I've never seen a physical seesaw where you're not quite sure what's the volume of pollution is going to tip this over, and how you are going to fight against that using all the tools available to you. And it's just fascinating how my project plays then opens up something else for someone else. And trying to figure out that budget, I don't want to be spending money from certain departments that will allow me to then place another project card out later. So loads to think about there, really nice. And it's just such a unique game for my collection. It's not often you come across an economic cooperative game. I can't really think of many. Crisis has got a little bit in there where you're collectively working, but you're still competing to create all those businesses and so on. So definitely a unique game for anyone's collection here and worth having a look at. There we are. Enjoy.